반짝이는 눈빛 눈이 부셔 매일 날 감싸주는 손길.
Han Yeon-sung received a call from an unknown number one day. The man on the other end of the line said, "Please help Jin Na-young safely deliver my child." After leaving that message, the man hung up. Han Yeon-sung was puzzled by the chilling voice. What did he mean by my child? Could it be that the baby is not his child but someone else? Han Yeon-sung will encounter a shocking secret and learn how to make Jin Na-young pay for her sins. As the beloved protagonist of our drama, Han Yeon-sung witnessed Jin Na-young's lies firsthand but remained silent. Of course, the main characters of this story are Jin Soo Ji and Chae Woo Ri, so it is more dramatic and fitting for them to solve the problem. Now we look forward to Kimari finding Yoonwoo, and Han Yeon-sung has another shocking event waiting for him, so we must pay close attention to that part. The villain Jin Na-young has decided to fabricate calculated lies to cover up Han Jin-tae's crimes and deceive her mother-in-law Kimari. "Mother, I'm truly sorry. I misunderstood father and acted recklessly," Jin Na-young said tearfully to Kimari as if regretting everything. Her eyes were filled with sadness and regret, and the empathy in her words shook Kimari's heart. Kimari sighed deeply upon hearing Jin Na-young's words. "Na-young, I must have doubted my husband too much. I was too impulsive. You did nothing wrong." At that moment, Jin Na-young's gaze momentarily turned cold but soon returned to a warm expression. She held Kimari's hand and said, "Mother, you did nothing wrong. Let's forget everything and make our family live in peace again." Han Yeon-sung tried to suppress his anger and disappointment as he silently observed these scenes. His heart was filled with complex emotions, deep betrayal towards Jin Na-young and self-blame for not protecting his mother. He felt Jin Na-young approaching him. Jin Na-young smiled softly and whispered to him, "Yeon-sung, you should stay quiet. The best thing you can do for our child is to keep our secret. Don't interfere in this situation and protect our secret." Han Yeon-sung listened to her words, unable to contain his anger, but he remained silent. He coldly looked at her and placed his hand on her belly, then suddenly withdrew it. It was as if recognized a deep gap between himself and the child. Jin Na-young was deeply shocked by his actions. She looked at Han Son-young bewilderedly and asked, "Why? Kong is your child. You should protect our child." However, Han Yeon-sung did not respond. He didn't say anything and left the room. A few days later, when Han Yeon-sung was lost in deep thought, the phone suddenly rang. He answered the call and a familiar yet cold voice spoke. "Han Yeon-sung, I know Jin Na-young very well." The voice confused Han Yeon-sung. It had a tone that hinted at Jin Na-young's secretive past. "Who is this? What is the purpose of your call?" Han Yeon-sung asked anxiously. The voice replied with confidence, "Please help Jin Na-young deliver my child." Han Yeon-sung felt his heart stop at those words. He wanted to deny the man's statement, but doubts had already taken root in his mind. The thought that Kong might not be his child wouldn't leave his mind. That night, Han Yeon-sung quietly approached Jin Na-young. His eyes were filled with pain and confusion. He looked at her seriously and asked, "Is Kong my child? Is it true?" Jin Na-young suddenly looked flustered and avoided his gaze. Her hands began to tremble and her lips became dry. "Yes, Yeon-sung, Kong is your child. How can you think otherwise?" However, Han Yeon-sung couldn't believe her words. Her trembling voice and uneasy gaze only confused him further. Time passed and the day of Jin Na-young's delivery finally arrived. When Han Yeon-sung heard the baby's cry in the hospital, he felt a moment of joy. He held the baby in his arms and smiled, embracing the joy of becoming a father. But suddenly, he remembered the phone call he received before. The man's voice echoed in his mind. "Please help Jin Na-young deliver my child." Han Yeon-sung's face turned pale as he recalled the voice. He couldn't accept the shocking truth. Kong's blood was incompatible with his and Jin Na-young's. His body began to tremble. He couldn't comprehend how to accept this shocking fact. He realized he couldn't solve this problem alone and immediately proceeded with a DNA test. After confirming the test results, Han Yeon-sung felt as if his heart had stopped. The results were clear. He was not Kong's biological father. Han Yeon-sung grabbed the result paper and rushed to Jin Na-young. His eyes were filled with anger, disappointment, and betrayal. He handed her the result paper and took a deep breath. What is this? How could you deceive me like this? What have you done? Jin Na-young looked at the result paper, her eyes widening and her body stiffening. She realized she could no longer hide the truth. Tears streamed down her face and she fell to her knees, begging Han Yeon-sung. I'm sorry, Yeon-sung. I'm truly sorry. I made a mistake, but I had my reasons. Please forgive me. For the sake of our child, please. However, Han Yeon-sung no longer listened to her words. He coldly stared at her and tightly sealed his lips. Love and affection no longer remained in his eyes. You want me to forgive you for deceiving me, for mocking our family? Stop it, Jin Na-young. Go find Kong's biological father and live with him. You are no longer my wife or this family's daughter-in-law. Jin Na-young trembled in despair, shedding tears. She realized that she had caused everything to crumble. She understood that all of this was a result of her own mistakes. She was left with nowhere to go and no one to rely on, forced to wander on the street.
'Cause you are